this now.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, this is Jennifer Collins. This is week 2 of Module 4 of the University of Dayton TEFL program.
Hi, this is Carolina Carrillo. So let's get started.
Yes.
Okay, Jennifer. So do you have your questions?
I do have
there
them
with
right
you?
here in front of me. So question number 1 is, how would you define the bottom-up approach to teaching listening? So I'll just go through my answers and then you can do yours. The bottom-up approach to listening involves the basic elements of spoken language, including stress, grammar, and vocabulary. An activity might be pre-teaching vocabulary in a listening activity, such as the class we observed in week 5 of Module 3. I'd like to stress that that it would be super helpful in our class if we could get some more examples of these kinds of things when we're learning about them.
Yeah, I read your post in the forum. Yeah.
I'm just gonna hammer that home throughout the whole rest of the course.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, maybe we have to check the videos and the sources the teacher posted. Did you
Yeah.
see there were like some extra materials? Okay. So, well, I think this is an approach, or well, bottom-up approach is an approach through which the listener disintegrates sound into meaningful units.
Mhm.
So it's like starting from, let's say, from a very big thing and yeah, going kind of deductively, maybe.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, and I think this approach can portray the natural flow of a conversation,
Hmm.
and listening and watching a video for the first time without pauses can be examples of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah. Okay. Question 2?
Yes.
Okay, so this one's, how would you define top-down approach? So I say top-down approach, or top-down strategies focus on the big picture, the general meaning, or the main idea of a text. Students can be given true-false questions after a listening exercise. The the MALQ that we talked about in this class could be used to help students evaluate their own understanding.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's about developing metacognitive skills
Mm.
for succeeding in listening.
Mhm.
And it, yeah, maybe we can use it like giving students some tips so they can approach listening by following a method,
Mm.
and predicting tasks or grouping words by category can be examples of this method.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let me point out something. I think we cannot like teach our students to do the same procedures
Uh-huh.
for all listenings in order for them not to be used, like to a
Yeah.
certain method. So maybe we can change some things from time to time.
Mm.
Okay, so then we have, do you want to say something else about number
No,
2?
that's okay.
It's okay. Okay, so for number 3, we have, what are some of the advantages or disadvantages of guiding students through these stages of listening instruction?
Mm.
And how would you adapt Vander, I'm sorry, I cannot read it
Vandergrift
carefully.
and
Yeah,
Gach.
and Gogh's model. Okay, so I think the advantages, well, for beginners and intermediate level students, these stages can be helpful and can make them feel they are not lost. So they are like guided. In addition, students may regard the listening tasks clearly. So if they are
Mm.
given very clearly like instructions or about what the teacher expects them to do, it's going
Mhm.
to be easier for them. But I guess they may get used to these routines and they may feel lost
Mm.
when skipping some stages.
Mm.
So I would try like to make stages less evident as
Mm.
long as the students increase their levels. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like trying to
Yeah.
scaffold to do some adjustments. Well, that's all about number three. What do you have?
So I said the activity seems could be really good because it goes step by step and in depth, but it could be a little bit long for a class, and it
Mm-hmm.
might be a little tedious at times because of the step by step nature. So if students are
Okay.
advanced, they may get a little bit kind of antsy. Um, One other thing, they talked about debating the text's main points. And I worry about that a little bit because I feel like if you're reading a text, the main point of the text, mm, it should be pretty obvious. And if
Mm-hmm.
and so it might be difficult for students to discuss, like to sort of debate the points or to sort of, I, it could cause you, it could get you into a difficult situation, I guess. And then it might be more interesting to discuss the
Hear you well.
implications. Sorry, I think it
So
might be
it's
more
okay now. It's okay now. Yeah.
good. I think it might be more interesting than discussing the, like trying to agree on the main points. Instead, just
Mm-hmm.
discuss the implication of the text's main points. That might be more interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's great that I have like some opinions regarding like the basic levels, and you have
Uh,
some something
yeah,
about the higher ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
it's great. Um, Anything else?
No, that's everything for that.
That's everything. Okay, so for number four, we have the list of listening techniques is quite
Okay.
extensive. Can you identify a technique that you have already used in your classroom? Okay, so I have
Okay.
used selecting details from the
Mm,
text, which is word recognition, and listening for normal sentence word order.
mm.
They would be like the bottom up ones. And for the top down, I have used getting the gist of a sentence.
The gist.
Gist. Thank you. Yes, so I think, well, these are like sort of, let's say, easy ones,
Mm,
but that's because with basic levels. So I think they are very effective because the students, yeah, look for general information, so they don't feel like under pressure.
mm.
Uh, I would like to use the interactive exercises about recognizing a familiar word and relating it to a category and following directions, meaning like drawing a map after having heard some instructions. I would also like to look for a good video on YouTube. It can be a brief interview or a short presentation featuring a topic of interest for students. So maybe this way I can get like to approach them
Mm,
like to natural accents and like some topics of interest for them.
mm.
But yeah, you're right. We need like some examples to make these techniques clearer.
Yeah.
So
So
which ones have you used?
I I used to teach
Sorry,
students.
it's a little slow. So
I used to teach students to take the TOEFL exam. Um, this includes listening to a sentence and like choosing pictures that describe that sentence. Caroline, are you still there?
mhm,
Yeah. Okay. Good. Um, but but I have to be honest. I do not think I've ever been able to fully break down that activity so that students who couldn't do the activity could do it because of some way that activity was broken down. I think students can either do it or they practice a lot and then become able to do it. I think it's really hard to break down listening activities, and that's one of the things I'm hoping that we'll learn when we look at this, um, the when we get to observe this class in
mhm,
the section a little bit later on this week. What I'd like to do. So I'd really like to help students recognize pertinent details in a speech stream. Um, I think you could tell students to sort of listen for pauses before and after important details happen, or come along, because this is another actually activity that I've tried, that I've had students do, but I never have felt very effective at teaching them how to do it. And then, yeah, like having students listen to a dialogue and then be able to pick out important details. It's really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's for 4, and then 5, right? On
Then
5.
we have like to set some principles.
Oh yes, these are the principles, right?
Yeah,
So
about FL
learning and
listening,
yeah,
teaching.
sorry,
Yeah.
listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said probably some of my principles, things that I've learned that work well, to prepare
Mm-hmm.
students for vocabulary and
Mm-hmm.
to prepare them for the type of activity. So if it's a song, prepare them for the type of song, that sort of thing. To include a variety of activities, to replay parts of the audio so students can determine the word they're struggling with. That's one of the things I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
works pretty well. Um, and then also to use audio in conjunction with other lessons in the classroom. So like to try to tie it into some general um, topic or theme that you're teaching. I think it works really well.
Great. Yeah, I think we have like some principles in common, but
Really good, cool.
yeah, it's like sort of paraphrasing them, like saying them in a different way.
That's
But
good. Well,
okay,
I
so
really respect you as a teacher, so that's really cool.
yeah, so it's like topics of listening will be introduced clearly. So of course it has to do with the vocabulary.
Okay.
The recording will be high quality ones. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes you struggle with these low quality recordings. At least for let's say initial stages, of course, maybe you can include noise and some other things, but not at the very beginning. Students will have at least 3 opportunities for listening. Okay, remember this is like for beginners.
Sure.
The new vocabulary and expressions will be covered and explained like in advance, and the stages will basically be listening for general ideas, focusing on details, and summarizing what the recording is about. So
Yeah.
these are my principles.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I would like to say that listening is a really difficult skill, like to work with, because when you listen in real life, you're like kind of live. So sometimes you cannot get the information again. So I think that's what makes it like quite complex,
Hmm.
because when it's about reading you can go over texts, or when it's about writing you can just like erase and do things again, but listening is more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really, again, it's really hard to break it down you know, into chunks so that students
Yeah,
can feel like they're progressing. If they really struggle with listening, it's really hard to help them feel
yeah,
like they're progressing. Yeah.
and it would take a long long time.
Huh, it
Yeah,
does. I think it
when
does.
you're teaching in class.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Did you have any other questions for a professor
No,
or any
that's all.
additional
That
comments?
was like the final comment. No, that's okay.
Okay, cool. This is
Do
good.
you?
Thank you. No, I don't. I don't either.
You
Yeah,
don't?
thank you
Okay.
so much for doing this, and I'm sorry that it had to be so quick.
Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry about the
Don't
technical
worry.
difficulties. All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast.